Awesome. Looks like some of you guys are getting in. So once we get a few more of you in, then we will get started. Today's live lesson will be pretty short. It won't be anything super, super long, just because we're going to do an introduction to everything. But we're going to be using this Pear Deck a lot. So every time you log on, just kind of automatically go to that Join PD and then just type in that code. And then we should be able to get going pretty easily. So I'm sharing a screen code right now. If you look at, it should be sharing the screen right now. The code is ZZ or ZNNCG. So I'll just copy that in there. So you go to joinpd.com and then type in that code. And this code you can type in anytime. So even if it's not like up on the screen, it'll kind of be in the corner up there and you should always be able to see it. So we're going to go ahead and get started. We only have 44 kids in this section. So, and live lessons aren't, you don't actually need to come to them. You can even watch the recorded lesson. It's kind of just whoever wants to come. So we only have 44 people in our class, and I know Mr. Navarro, I think, has like 150. So there's two sections of biology. So first off, I just wanted to introduce myself for a second. So my name is Miss Radnich, and this is my first semester teaching online through ASU. I've actually taught online through my own school district because I teach brick and mortar schools at a brick and mortar school. But just a little about me, I am from Phoenix. I don't know if any of you are also from Phoenix, but I'm born and raised in Arizona, if anybody else is. And I absolutely love Disneyland. So you'll see my picture up there of me at Disneyland. And I always go during Halloween time. And then also I have 4 dogs and I recently got married. So 4 dogs, recently got married. And I also have a parrot named Maui. So I'm a huge, huge, huge animal person. So I just wanted to tell you guys a little bit about me before we get going. So what's kind of cool about this Pear Deck is you should be able to kind of do stuff like as we're giving the presentation. So today is going to be super, super easy and we're just going to do some kind of like open-ended questions. But the first thing I want you to think of is, what is biology? Like, what actually is biology? So you should be able to write on the screen, but I basically just want you to tell me, like, what do you think biology is? Like, why is it important? Why do we need to study it? What actually is it? So I'll give you guys just a few questions to answer, but I really want you to think about what is actually biology. So biology is really just the study of life. And when we think of life, life can mean many different things, because when we normally think of life, like, it's super easy to just automatically think, oh, my dog or my cat or me or a bird. That's actually my parrot up there in the corner. That's not actually him, but that's the species he is. His name's Maui, and he's a Genday conure. I've had him for like, oh my gosh, I think like 12 years now. They live to be 25 years old, 20, 30 years old. So I'll still have them for a long time. But we automatically kind of go in towards animals. Like, that's kind of your automatic response. But I wanted to make sure that you understand that when we're talking about life, we mean everything from super small to super large. So up here is some bacteria. Bacteria are still part of life. We still want to talk about bacteria. In the bottom left, that's an amoeba. So an amoeba is a single-celled eukaryotic organism. So it's actually the same cell type as us. It's just a super weird little kind of creature that goes around. And then we also have to think about plants. So biology is really a mix of everything, a mix of all life, big, small, microscopic. So it doesn't matter what we're studying, as long as it's having to do with life, then it's considered to be biology. So biology is our study of life, and I want you to think about this for a second, and you can actually draw right on this, but I want you to think about a lion, and I want you to think about a rock. And I want you to try to come up with some differences between a lion and a rock, because we obviously know that a lion is alive and a rock is not alive. So I want you to try to think of some differences between what makes that lion alive compared to that rock. So go ahead and just kind of draw on the screen and draw some of the things that are different between the lion and the rock. So I'm seeing some of you guys are putting that like the lion is breathing, the lion moves. So go ahead and take another like 20 seconds and just think about it. What is the difference between a lion and a rock? All right, awesome job. So we're gonna go ahead and move on, and we're gonna kind of go over these characteristics of life, because this is really a good introduction to kind of what you guys are going to be doing all the rest of the semester, and even when you have to take biology B, the second one. We have to really think about what actually makes something alive. So the major characteristics of life are going to be reproduction, adaptation, regulation, response, growth and development, metabolism, and organization. And I want you to kind of think about these words for a second and try to think about you as a living organism and think about some of the things that you are able to do with these. So let's go over some examples. As you can tell, I love having cute pictures of animals. That's just one of my things. So if we look at this jackrabbit over there, right? Like he has ginormous ears, huge, huge ears. But I want you to look really closely at those ears. Do you see how they have like blood vessels all running through them? So those blood vessels are really, really important for regulation. That rabbit is able to regulate its blood temperature and body temperature through his ears. So you know how we sweat? We sweat. That's like one of our major things for regulating body temperature. When we get too hot, we start to sweat. We've all done it before. Well, that guy actually doesn't have any sweat glands. So he can't regulate his body temperature by sweating. So he regulates it by allowing heat to be released through his ears. And that's one of the reasons they have those huge, huge ears. Then we look at the giraffes over there, and that's a really good example of reproduction. And reproduction kind of means two different things. So when we think about reproduction, obviously it's making offspring, right? Like that's how species go on and survive. But also think about your own bodies for a second. If you were to cut yourself, okay, a couple days later, you see new skin cells kind of growing over where you cut yourself. Well, that's reproduction. I mean, you are literally growing new cells. That's Dave. He has big ears and can't sweat. And then I want you to look at the cactus. The cactus is a really good example of adaptations to an environment. Do you guys see how they all have like those big thorns on them? So those thorns are an adaptation for basically not allowing animals to eat that certain part of the cactus. So it has kind of evolved these huge thorns to be able to protect itself. And it also grows those flowers at the top so that bees can help pollinate and spread their genes. So that cactus has really adapted to be able to survive in its environment. And then the cute little deer down there, I put him because his ears are really perked. So that's a response to a stimulus. When an animal like hears a predator, it's going to perk its ears like that and really look around and respond to, oh my gosh, something is trying to get to me, and then it runs away. Even a response to environment can be something as simple as if someone's driving and they see the light turn yellow, you push on the brakes. You're responding to somebody. And that's a huge characteristic of life, the ability for us to be able to respond and adapt to what's going on around us. And then the picture in the bottom right is an embryo. So the embryo is representing growth and development because that's all what we looked like at some point. Yeah, jellyfish baby. That's kind of what we looked like at some point, which is as weird as that sounds, but that is what we looked like. And now, obviously, you are a full-grown organism that are all attending high school and going to school. So I really just wanted to do a quick demonstration of some of the major things we're going to be learning this semester. Next week, we're going to do a lot of scientific method stuff, which I know that you guys are doing in class right now. And then we'll move on to Unit 2 after that. So this was really my first ever live lesson that I did with you guys. And I know it's a little short and sweet, but it is a Friday afternoon, and I know we all have places to go. And from now on, the live lessons are going to be usually Thursdays at around 2:45. I'll always send out emails, but mark your calendar for around them. I just had a training I had to go to yesterday, so I didn't get out of it till a little bit later. But I really hope you enjoyed it. The rest of the live lessons will be a little bit longer, so plan on being a little bit longer. But this was really just a really nice introduction to kind of what Pear Deck is, and you're able to log on quickly now next time we get on. And we're really going to do a lot of like cool activities together within Pear Deck. So I'm going to keep messing around with it and making these better and better each week. And I just wanted to thank you guys so much for attending and hanging out with me. And I will see you guys next week, and I will talk to you guys all on Monday. I'll shoot you out an email. And if you need anything, please make sure you just text that number that I called you guys on, or shoot me a message on Canvas. Either one works. So I hope you guys all have a fantastic weekend. And try to think of those characteristics of life this weekend as you're walking around wherever you live. Doesn't matter where you live. All of these are exhibited in all of the areas. So try to find some good examples for me for when we come back for next week. That'll be kind of our opening question is what did you really observe this week? So once again, have a great weekend, everybody, and I will see you guys next week.